What's up, sneaker fans? I cannot believe how fast the year is going by right now. It's March 25th already, and that means tomorrow is Air Max Day. And this year for Air Max Day, Nike is giving us what we have behind me, the Air Max 1 86 OG. Now, if you're like me and the Air Max 1 is also one of your favorite silhouettes, then that name kind of raises an eyebrow. Specifically that 86, because as far as I knew, 87 was the original release date of the Air Max 1. But now enter the Air Max 1 Big Bubble. And these actually have a pretty interesting history. As it turns out, this was the real original Air Max 1 with the Big Bubble. Because of that bigger air unit, in colder weather, these were prone to cracking. Once Nike engineers realized how fragile these actually were, they scrambled to create a new smaller air unit as well as new midsole tooling for the Air Max 1. And that is the Air Max 1 that we know and love that was released in 1987. That actually answers a lot of questions for me, because if you look at some of those original advertisements for the Air Max 1, the air unit on those is huge, and compared to this is puny. But with all that said, let's get right into the review of these, starting with the packaging. And this is the area that Nike always excels in. We have this see-through piece up top, this cutout of the Nike swoosh here, and then on the side here we have these three cutouts that is supposed to be that new Big Bubble that we have on these. As for why the box itself has the reimagined treatment here with this vintage look, I have no idea, but it does look pretty cool. Quick disclaimer, as we look at the label here, this is the women's version of the Air Max 1 86 OG, but from the packaging to the shoes themselves, I have not been able to find any difference other than the label between men's and women's pairs. I do have a men's pair coming in a size 8.5, just like these here, so I'll probably post a short about the comparison between the two pairs. If you're interested in that video, consider subscribing to the channel. Now, far as sizing goes on the Air Max 1 Big Bubble, I got my true size 8.5 here, and I find that these do run true to size. In fact, I find that these run a little bit less narrow than the Air Max 1, which for me, with a medium width foot, is actually a better fit than the regular Air Max 1s. Retail price of both of these is $150, and that about does it for the label. So now, let's open up the box and take a look at the shoes. Inside we have these stripes on the paper, but then here are the shoes. And at first glance, there is something that looks a little bit off from that really big window. I'll get a pair of Air Max 1s a little bit later when we get these out the box so that we can put these side by side to what we're used to. But this is a massive air bubble. Anyway, let's take a closer look at these, starting with the upper. Now we got the box out the way, let's take a closer look at these. As far as the materials go, they're just okay. These are really about that big bubble as well as the colorway itself and the history on these shoes. When it comes to Air Max 1s in their OG colorways, the original releases didn't have very nice materials. For example, this red mudguard here as well as our quarter panel and our heel. This is like feels like almost like a felt material. Very similar to what we got on the anniversary pair of these a couple years back. The materials are not very nice, but they do look really nice all put together like this. We do have this mesh material here for our toe box. The toe box itself, I don't know if you can tell, is substantially wider looking than the previous version of the Air Max 1. Looking at the medial side now, same materials here. We have this gray material for our quarter panel, university red swoosh, university red on our top eyelet here. Looking at our heel, we have a nice Nike Air embroidery there, so that is all pretty standard stuff. I can't help but look at these and feel like something is just a little bit off with the design. These come stock with flat white laces, no extra set of laces with this release. Here's a look at the Air Max logo. I'm not sure why that red is peeking out like that. That does look a little bit odd. The tongue itself is moderately padded. On the flip side, it is all in university red. On the inside, our sock liner, university red with Nike branding in white. As far as the shape of the toe box goes, it is pretty nice, but overall, together with this midsole, it just looks, there's something is weird. And then I got it. It's the midsole. So moving on to the midsole outsole here, this midsole is completely smooth,
which I had no idea how much texture added to the Air Max 1 silhouette, but seeing it here with no texture, it is pretty odd. Let me get a pair of regular Air Max 1s for comparison. So here's the comparison. We have our air bubble as well as that texture, and then put together, we can really see the size difference. It is substantially bigger, this air bubble. Now, another thing about the midsole that you're probably wondering is, what is the comfort like? Is the big bubble much more comfortable than the OG that we know? The short answer is no. You can barely feel the difference. And again, we can't hype this up too much. This is 80s cushioning technology. That about does it for the midsole and our air unit. Now taking a look at our traction pattern, and it's pretty similar to the regular Air Max 1. Here's a quick comparison. Sorry about the dirty sole, but pretty much the same as far as design goes. It looks marginally wider as well, which makes a lot of sense because they also feel wider than the regular Air Max 1.
Overall, I really like what Nike did for Air Max Day this year. This is definitely not a hyped pair of shoes, but it is an extremely thoughtful pair of shoes. Bringing back this piece of history that not many people were aware of, it's just really cool to see. That bigger air unit, substantially bigger air unit, is one that I think looks really cool. Although, this got me thinking, the reason why they didn't release these was because they were susceptible to cracking. I wonder if that still holds true here, but we'll have to see. That's all I have to say about these. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe for more sneaker content, and I'll catch you on the next video.